Greetings, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Happy Monday. Oh, and she's here already. Hello. Hey, Bob.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm present.
Hey, happy Monday. Happy Eclipse, everybody.
Yes, y'all. Happy Eclipse. Woo. Well, we're coming in for our moon updates, our moon astrology updates for this
Yes.
week. Um, and we are landing right at an eclipse, which is one of the rarest experiences that this, this eclipse, a full solar eclipse, moving through America since the one that we had in Leo in 2017. Do you remember the one in 2017?
Um, Not really. I was trying, you said August 2017, I think somebody said. Was it
Yeah.
August of
Uh
twenty?
huh. It was August.
Satori was turning one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember any. I remember I was going through hell. I do remember that. I remember there was a hurricane in Jacksonville right around that time, but I also was going to New York Fashion Week to do hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in a big contraction. I remember beautiful things were happening to my career, but my relationship, my marriage at that time, I was just, I was a hurricane. I was a storm. And and when I look back at that time, it makes me sad,
Oh,
honestly. Hmm.
okay. Okay. Interesting. What do I remember about that time? I remember that I was in an open relationship with somebody he was married, and I was in an open relationship with him, and I remember like his partner was a Leo, and
Hmm.
she sort of like exploded. It was a yes, and
Hmm.
I remember thinking, oh, this is what eclipses do.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I
Hmm.
remember being an observer, being like, oh, like this energy, like it cooked her, but she's a completely new person now. She has a completely different life, and
Right.
right, it like her whole life changed, and I watched it. I was like, oh wow, but I was in a cooker pressure with them,
Mm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
and
Yeah.
um and it was interesting to see how it unfolded. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that time. Very interesting. Then we're on the other side of that, and and so that gentleman you were talking about, I was also in an open relationship with,
Yes. I
and
didn't want to tell your business.
I appreciate it. You know me, so I
I do.
appreciate that. But yeah, I remember that time. I was new to polyamory, and when I think about how I have transformed during
Mhm.
that time, I just don't operate that way anymore.
Mhm.
I really value relationships that have a lot of depth. And at that time, I really just saw what somebody else had and, was like, oh, this is cool. Let me
Mhm.
see if I want to try this. And now, going through, what is that? 7 years, 8 years? No. Yeah,
5.
7 years.
Is it? Oh, it's 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
7, yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
going through 7 years of playing with a modality and relating, I have learned so much.
Mm.
I know what's my authenticity.
Mhm.
That new experience has matured in me.
Mhm.
And so that's really how I've been looking at things of like, oh, what's on the other side of this? What's on the other side of that place you were when that eclipse happened?
Mhm.
How have you matured? What has matured? And I value my energy. Being
Mhm.
polyamorous can be a very beautiful thing. But I'm a double visionary in the Bagua Seku
Mhm.
numerology system, and visionaries can be all over the place. They
Yes.
definitely can be all over the place. And that can be great because her energy is like a fairy. So she's like, I'm a
Yeah.
little bit here sprinkling magic, I'm a little bit there sprinkling magic. But, I'm just so conscious of how I want to utilize my energy, how I want to affect people in my life. And I'm just so happy that I matured because that shit I was doing back then, it was novice. And I love my inner little teenage,
Yeah.
little young woman
Mhm.
energy. I love that part of me, but I
Mhm.
just can't see myself doing that anymore. I'm so
Right.
happy I matured.
That is so funny. As I listen to you, it's the like you have all that you have that Capricorn stellium. So you
Yeah,
had to mature. Like you were going to mature and you were already mature and you know what I mean you're very much an old soul, in a lot of ways. So I understand what you mean. I learned a lot from polyamory too. It's so interesting we're talking about this because that's not what we intended to talk about. We're going to go with the flow though. I learned a lot about myself in polyamory because I also like I learned about how I relate. I learned about my relationship challenges. I I think the thing that I learned the most was that I really didn't exist to myself. I wasn't
mm,
centered in my own self at all. I wasn't in my body. I wasn't in my own natural way of being. I didn't know my own natural way of being. And what polyamory showed me was how important it is for me to understand my own way of functioning.
yeah,
And what I what I discovered in that experience was how intuitive I am, how psychic I am, because I just picked up everybody's stuff. Like I could read everybody's energy. And it was too much for me. It was too much for my system because
yeah. It was
I
distracting for you for where you were wanting to go.
yes, it was distracting for me. But I needed to do that to realize that
Hmm.
um, that was what was happening, and I it moved through my system, and I needed it, and I learned a tremendous amount from it, and um, I learned that I'm so sensitive. Like I'm very, very, very sensitive in ways that growing up as a Generation Xer just wasn't allowed. Like,
There was no
I'm
room for that.
that's right. I'm damn near fragile. You know what I'm saying? Like really my energy, I've learned how to be forceful and I've learned how to, be assertive because I grew up in an environment that required it.
Hmm.
But left to my own, I really am a little gentle flower. Like I literally am like, ah. And it's just interesting to learn. And so it was great. It was a beautiful experience. So that brings us to what we are talking about because in this eclipse energy in Aries, it's about us claiming our true identity.
Hmm.
It's about us really clearing away all of the old narratives about what what the world says we are, all of the identities that we've inherited, like the identity of mother, the identity of wife, the identity of friend, like what how do we re-narrate these identities in ways that actually are aligned to us as individuals, but that are not about people pleasing,
Hmm.
obligation, you know, patterns that are outdated. Like, how do we actually do that? How do we actually take responsibility so that we can become truer to ourselves and more authentic? Um, so that's one of the themes of this eclipse. I mean, I think I said a lot in there but I don't want to talk about Chiron and Venus yet. But there's so much happening. What are your thoughts on that, Gabrielle?
Um, on Yeah, I feel like this Aries conversation has been real rich lately, and
Hmm.
it's actually annoying to me because I'm an Aquarius and I just don't have that going on.
Right. Oh, I
I'm gonna be
love that.
honest. It's very annoying that, people struggle with their own identity because I just don't have any of that going on. Now,
Hmm.
I do notice, where my thing with Aries is courage.
Yes.
That is my thing is I lack courage because I know I'm powerful as hell. And sometimes when I'm learning to taper and temper my power so I don't knock stuff over, because that's what I will do. I've done historically is
Mhm.
knock stuff over when I want to go after things. Um, so the be your own self, the be authentic.
You're
I'm
an
at my wit's
Aquarius.
end with the
You're an
conversation.
Aquarius.
I'm just I'm like, are we still talking about this? Do it. Go be you. Tell the motherfuckers, fuck you. Just go.
Right.
Like, so it's just I invite people to understand the multiple aspects of, Aries and see where you are within that
Mhm.
because we still are here. So we have the aspect of courage,
Mhm.
initiating, uh,
Pioneering. Doing the
pioneering.
initiating. Mhm.
Yep. And then that being authentic to your own self. And so somewhere in there, you're going to have an initiation that you can take on.
Mhm.
You know, it,
Mhm.
it may not be the be authentic. You're like, look, I am me. And you know what? When I think about the authentic thing is I do draw back because I don't have the courage to do certain things. So that
Mhm.
is an authentic
Mhm.
thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
I can see that being in there. Um, but all these elements are really inviting us to be vital. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Bring vitality to your life in a way that you possibly have not. Hey, baby.
Mhm.
How you possibly have not in the past is just be vital, have vitality, take care of yourself,
Yes.
keep your chi high.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? These are all the aspects that to me, um, enriching us, enhance us, and makes it available for us to be authentic, courageous, and initiative is really pouring into you and building yourself up.
Yes.
Um, so that's a lot of what I'm seeing with this season, this time is like, it's you, baby.
Mhm.
Nobody's gonna do it but
Mhm.
you. Nobody can do it but
Right.
you, you know,
That is
so don't
so
miss that
beautiful.
opportunity.
That's beautiful. Like
Yeah.
like really pouring into yourself is a real beautiful message for this eclipse.
Hmm.
And what does that look like? What does it look like for people to prioritize themselves and pour and like give themselves what they need and not have the expectation for it to be someone else's responsibility?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's such an interesting thing. I had an interesting experience on TikTok yesterday. There's this woman that I followed that I just thought was so fucking smart. Like she had crazy negotiator mind energy. Like she just could go. And her conversations were often about the patriarchy and men and abuse and all that kind of stuff, but her perspectives were so um her perspectives weren't anchored her perspectives are anchored in the cultural conversation
Mm.
around how things are set up. So I really appreciated listening to her. And yesterday she was talking something about like women being in abusive relationships, and I commented something like, well, if I was in an abusive relationship, I would ask myself, what have I done to create this?
Mm. How was that
And
received?
girl, she made a whole comeback video. Like she made a whole video.
Oh, you did not share the TikTok tea with me.
She made a whole video like, we don't do that here. We don't take responsibility for abusers. We don't take responsibility. We don't own any of it. And I literally was like, huh, that's so interesting. So I made another comment saying, well, it just occurs to me that something in me would attract that person.
Mhm.
Like like if they're there, they have to be there because something in me magnetized them.
Mhm.
So I will become curious. It's not like I'm taking responsibility for his behavior. I will become curious about what's the thing in me that drew this in
Right.
and begin to
Right.
focus on that.
Right.
And after that, she blocked me. Like after that, she blocked me. And I was like, because I really liked following her, right? So I was like, wow, I really like
Is that
following
the
her.
lady you shared with me on TikTok? And you were like, I really like this lady or something. You sent something to my
I
profile.
don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was. I have to go look and see what I sent to you. But so it was a very interesting experience because afterwards I sat with it and thought about how, as a woman, I have expected somebody to fix my life.
Mm,
I have expected something outside of me to make my life right, to make my life better, to heal me, to make me feel better, to make me right. It's this outside thing, like, and somebody make the abuser stop. Like, like I grew up in a household where abuse was daily, right? And when I left that household, the thing that I was so aware of that I could never say out loud, for a while I couldn't even put my finger on it. It was the thing in my mother that would draw my father into the behavior. Like, I watched her trick him into the battles. Like, I
mm,
watched her do things that would incite his fury. Like, and
mm.
I'm not saying that he wasn't responsible for his fury, but I know that my mother would really do things to ignite it.
To
And
provoke it.
right, like I saw her do it.
Yeah.
And nobody ever talked about
Mm,
it. No one ever
mm.
said, and if you did say it, shame on you for saying that.
Right, right. She's a victim. She's a victim. What are you talking about, Monique? You saw that man bust her in the head.
I did see him bust her in the head, and I saw her fuck his friend that would make him do it, or I saw her, like, people have petty things that go on between them that
Right.
will force them into behavior. So she would do things like my father didn't. I mean, this, like, when I say this stuff, it sounds ridiculous, but my father really didn't believe that pork was good. Like, he really had a rule, like, don't bring pork in the house. And my mother would be, and she would, like, to trigger him, she would be in the house making pork chops. She would be in the house making pork chops, and I get it. She wants to. I'm not saying that she should not have had pork chops. I'm just
Right.
saying that she knew who she was married to,
Right. Right. Right.
and
Right.
and she knew that he was volatile, and she knew that it didn't take much. She was, and she was an Aries, and she was
I was
petty
about to
as
say she was the
fuck.
Aries, wasn't she?
She was
Hmm.
petty as fuck, right? So she would provoke him, but like, we never could say that that was going on. We could never say that there was this other undercurrent. As
That you're a part of this creation.
yes,
We can never say you are a part of this creation. And that is the conversation with all my clients right now that I'm talking to with women. They're dealing with men who are this way and that way. And I'm like, you realize you're the generator of this creation, right?
come on now.
That you are the force field. You are the vortex for that man showing up that way.
That's right.
And I see somebody put I'm provocative. I used to do things like back in the day I used to be so spicy and zesty. And that's the thing. If you are provocative, which all humans
Hmm.
are, don't you want to use your provoking energy in the most powerful and effective
Yes,
way?
that's right. Because it needs to be used, and
It need, it's
when
gonna
you
use
don't
you if
know.
you
That's right. It'll you. That's right. So my mother, it was using her, and it would end up in an ass whooping, or
right.
some battle between she and my father, where she would end up with black eyes. I mean, and literally, my father was 5'5" and my mother was 5'9", and I literally used to jump in the fights, and I would be like, afterwards, I would be like, "Why are you letting him beat you up?" Like, I would say that, like, he's little. Like, so you're right. Don't you want to use this provocative power for something worth being provoked?
Yeah, for something that benefits you, something that brings you closer to your goals and your creations that you really want,
Yes.
And so that's all of our mastery work. All humans are Jedis.
Yes.
All humans are Jedis.
Hmm.
But for those of us who want to change our circumstances, for those of us who are feeling like, life could be better, things could change, you're really going to have to get in your Jedi mindset. You're
Yeah.
really going to have to get very conscious and tedious of your internal experience,
Mhm.
the roller coasters that you decide to get on inside yourself.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's
you're
right.
really going to have to go there if you want to create any real change in your life, or things are just going to keep happening and manifesting. And you are going to be like, whoa, hold on. What? Get
Right.
in
Right.
that Jedi bag. Yes.
That is something else. That's really amazing. So, also in this eclipse window, we have Chiron conjunct the eclipse, and so the eclipse comes in at 11:22. I believe it's coming in on a moon hour, and Chiron. So there should be a lot of wounds coming up, but you got to pay attention to them. Like Gabrielle said, you have to be curious about how you're navigating your internal world. And with Chiron here, we have the opportunity to really, like Chiron is a the wounded healer. It really is
It's
a
the Wonder Healer.
superpower. Yes,
Hmm.
and when you heal your own wound, you become a healer, and then you
Yes.
become a healer of that frequency, right?
Yes.
So then everyone who resonates at the frequency of the wound that you have healed will be healed in your understanding of it. You know what I mean? It's like once you heal something in you, you can see it in somebody else and help them heal it too,
Yes.
because
Exactly.
that's how this works, right? We really are connected. And the thing that my meditation has been coming up with lately is like the law of oneness is the greatest law here, and the way to it is empathy.
Hmm.
You
Sorry,
cannot get
chosen
to
trying to get some
oneness
minis.
without empathy.
Hmm. Right.
So talk about that, Gabrielle. I think that's one. I love to hear you talk about empathy. You're good at it.
Um, yeah, it's like truly experiencing yourself as what someone else is going through.
Hmm.
Like really allowing yourself to be like, whoa, how would I be? What would life be? How would I respond if, I was in that situation?
Hmm.
And it really allows yourself to collide with the person. And that's so important when we want to connect on a deep level.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we see people doing things like my first husband, Juan. Whew, that man, he is, his history was being a UFC fighter and being an only child and being a black boy in America. And he was real pretty as a little boy, just real pretty. And people picked on him. He was so pretty. So he became a UFC fighter. He trained, he did all these things. So to this day, he's very protective and he just tear shit up real quick.
Hmm.
But that was based off his wounds. You know what I mean? And I see that. I
Hmm.
have a lot of empathy for black men in America. That's why I'm able to love them, nurture them, pick them up off the ground. Let's go. Because I get that. I
Yeah.
get it. I really
Yes.
empathize with what that's like.
Yes.
And I know I'm a Afro Latina woman, Indigenous and Latina woman,
Hmm.
but my mother has those markers. My stepfather
Hmm.
was an Indigenous black man here in America. And I just really get the plight. Like I really
Hmm.
feel it. I have looked at it. I see what those pains have built in a human.
Hmm. Yes.
I
Yes.
really
Absolutely.
empathize. Like,
Hmm.
okay, because you were pretty and you were picked on, you just learned to kick ass and tear people apart
Yeah.
to protect yourself
Yes.
because you were so vulnerable. You didn't have any brothers or sisters to protect you. You didn't have any dad. You didn't have a dad. You didn't have all these things. So you build an armor on yourself. And
Hmm.
who am I to say don't wear that armor?
Yes.
You know
Mm.
what I mean? Who am I to say to get rid of it? I get you. I know who you are.
Hmm.
And so that empathy piece, like this is the type of maturity we need if we're going to change our relationship landscape,
Yes. Yes.
um, is to really see our partner, to
Yes.
see their weaknesses and why the weakness is there in the first place.
Hmm.
And then, if you're a priestess and magical woman like us, you're going to get in there and change it,
That's right. And
just
it,
like
it
you would
really is,
yourself.
it's seeing your partner as you, seeing the
Yes.
oneness. Your partner is not separate from you. If there's
Right.
somebody in your life and they are in close proximity to you, whatever
Hmm.
is going on with them is a part of your domain as well.
Precisely.
So
Precisely.
if it's close, then you can experience it. Like I really empathize with the perspective of women that really feel like they need a savior. They need a
Hmm.
partner, they need a Jesus, they need because and that's not my narrative any longer. Like I really feel deeply anchored in myself and my
Yeah.
connection to spirit and my connection to the cosmos. And I don't feel as attached to external validation. It's still there a bit, but it's not in the ways that it used to be. But I empathize because I remember, like, I can feel it.
Yeah.
I'm very close to it. It's like, yeah, I get what it's like to think that you don't have it, that somebody else has got it, that you need
Right.
somebody else in order to feel safe, that you need this other thing in order to, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here doing the work so that I can the thing that I'm healing in myself, I can support others in healing. And
Yes.
so that we really recognize the truth of who we are. So that empathy piece is so big and it is the key to the experience of oneness.
Yes. And what's so profound to me is that your Chiron is in Aries, and what you just shared is a very Aries thing, and mine
Hmm.
is in Cancer. And what I shared around empathy is a
Yes,
very Cancerian thing.
yes.
Mine was around nurturing
Hmm.
and, the family, the relationship dynamic, and yours is about you. Okay.
Yes,
And you being your own savior. That's very Aries like. And
yes.
so that is exactly how Chiron works is wherever your Chiron is really the healing you can offer the world once you heal it in yourself. And I
Yes.
have been on the merry-go-round of healing this Chiron and
Yes, you
Cancer,
have.
and
Yes, you
I
have.
stayed with it though. I sometimes it knocked me out where I was sitting in the
You
corner for a
can't
year.
leave it. You can't leave it. It's in you.
Where are you gonna go? Right? Where you gonna go? So if it's in Cancer, this is all motherly, family,
Nurture,
relationship,
safety,
nurturing.
security.
Yep,
Yes. That's a
yep, yep, yep.
family. You said that. Yes. Your inner world, building from the inner world. Oh, that is so very powerful. One of the things that I've also been looking at is my blood type. Do you know your blood type?
Yeah, I'm be positive. I always like, yeah, Gabriella, be positive. She's always positive. Yeah, so I am. Yeah, I'm be positive.
That
I
is
have that Indian type of stuff going on or
okay.
something. I don't know.
I just and it's like this. I like one of the things about Aries is really about getting to know yourself. You've got
Mm,
to get to know your system. This,
yeah,
literally understand and one way to do it because sometimes the whole get to know yourself thing can be so vague, right? Like, well, I'm with myself all the time. I'm with myself all the time. What does it mean get to know myself? For me, one of the easiest ways to begin to really get to know yourself is your through your anatomy. Study
mm-hmm,
your anatomy.
yeah,
Study what does the liver do? What does the pancreas do? What does the gallbladder do? What does your brain do? What do your sinuses do? Like really study your nervous system. Get to know this system that you're in and how it's meant to function. Because
yes,
what I have seen in my life is that we are so disconnected from our bodies.
yeah. That's wild to me.
Isn't it?
It's
We,
wild
I know, and you're not that way. You don't have
because
that. You're
I'm
very
a
embodied.
scientist. I am a body scientist in every
Yes.
facet of the way. I build humans that run like titans. You hear me?
Yes.
I just And so it is wild, but I mean, I see that. Girl, I remember when I was on my doula journey back in Jacksonville. One of my sister friends told me, "Yeah, my sister was pregnant. She went to the hospital at 7 months pregnant. Didn't know she was pregnant. Birthed a baby. How the do you carry a human in your person for
Wow.
7 months
And not
and
know.
not know it?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm sorry, y'all. This is a lot for me.
Mm-hmm,
I am still shook that
yes. Yes.
people can do that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
remember when seeds were implanted. I remember when eggs were implanted.
Yes.
I am that in tune with my person.
Yes.
I don't know this.
Yes.
Where are you? Where do
Yes.
you go? Because that's a
I
whole world I don't know about.
right. That's the thing
There's
you
another
don't understand.
world.
So I can. So you can. Maybe you can. Is there any because it's empathy, right? Is there any place in you
Oh
where you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. One of my first romantic relationship, well, sexual relationships I had, I didn't realize what was really happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did not realize I was not. I was in a place that that I probably should not be with the
Yes.
sexual relationship. Like I was like in it, present with it, and I was like, oh, oh wow, it wasn't until about 7 months later that I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Yes.
this should not be happening.
Mm-hmm.
This has not been discussed. There's not an
Mm-hmm.
agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was not present to what was going on.
Yes.
You know
So
what
that is
I mean?
it. It's a very interesting thing because I'm so curious what transit you were going in through that time. You could have
Mm,
been going through like a Piscean transit where because that Pisces energy is very elusive. You can
yeah,
you get places and you don't know where you are and then you find yourself in conditions and so it's like, "Oh, I don't want to be here."
yeah,
Oh, it's a very tricky energy that Piscean thing.
yeah.
Um and but the thing in like people not knowing their bodies, we're not conditioned in this culture to know our bodies. We're conditioned to really cut off at the head. Like I feel like we're conditioned to think about what's wrong. That was the relationship I had with my body for the first 40 years.
Mm.
I'm not the right size. My hair is not the right length. My nose is
Oh.
this. That was the relationship I had with my body. How do I
Mm-hmm.
my relationship with my body was war because everything I believed about it wasn't right. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I feel like many of us relate to our bodies in that way.
Wow. 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 That's interesting. What would we say our zodiac, what would connect us to our body the most? Like which one of our placements, like Mercury or Venus or whatever? What would you
Venus,
say?
Venus.
Oh, see,
Uh-huh.
I'm Venus and Cap, baby.
Oh yeah.
I'm on top of
Yeah, that's
everything.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Venus and Taurus, Venus and Cap, Venus and Virgo. Yeah, all of those are energies
Those
that
are
are
earthly.
yes,
Yeah.
earthly energies.
Okay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That stellium you have in Capricorn,
It's
it's
no joke, Monique.
it is
It's no
not
joke.
it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not a
It's
and I'm watching it come online more. Like I'm watching it like because I've known you so long, like I'm literally witnessing you go from like a child into a woman. I'm with you in it. Like, oh, okay. Oh, yes.
yeah, it's profound, and I really appreciate. I remember being younger in my early 20s, like, oh, I can't wait till I'm 40. All of my friends that are 40 are so confident, they know themselves. At 20, I was so insecure about every single thing.
Mhm.
Is she really my friend? Do they just want to be around me because I have money? Because I always had money. I always have money. I'm always have money. Okay. So I was always insecure. Now I'm so confident in myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's a deep confidence that, and we all go through poop storms where life gets
Yeah.
crazy. We don't understand how we created something. I think that I'm gonna go through that again. I don't know. I don't want to
Yeah.
call it in my life, but I
Right.
just think it's a part of the experience.
Mhm.
But I just really appreciate the confidence and clarity that I have in myself.
Yeah.
There's always
That's
room to grow
Aries.
there.
Yes.
Yeah, there's always room to grow there.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not this superficial confidence like I used to have, where I would kind of put on this I would do certain mechanisms to make myself feel confident. This feels authentic.
Mhm.
This feels
Mhm.
authentic. It feels balanced. I don't feel arrogant, because I definitely could do that. Arrogance is built by superficial confidence.
Yes. Yes.
This
Yes.
doesn't
Yes.
feel superficial. It feels balanced,
Mhm.
you know?
Mhm.
And so I'm really grateful for just embracing my natal beginnings,
Mhm. Mhm. That's
you
powerful.
know?
Confidence is a part of this Aries energy too, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. If I hadn't brought it up already, but confidence is something that has been a real challenge for me, and I'm still every day I have to be remind myself that who I am, who I've created myself to be, is who I'm designed to be. And that I
Hmm.
have a right to be myself and I have a right to be on the planet being myself. I don't have to adhere to every other rules and other like I'm constantly reminding myself of that.
Hmm.
That's Chiron and
You
Aries.
don't, Monique. And I know. You have really made a devotion that a lot of women are not even in the mindset to make, which is total self-devotion, which I feel every woman needs a woman like that in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Because as women, we merge with people because we actually are meant to merge. We can hold multiple humans inside of our body. We do
Yes.
understand that, right? So we're
Yes.
meant to merge with people.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And with you being in this self-devoted place, it's like, okay, but you can't forget about your
Mm-hmm.
individuality. You can't forget about the unique codes that you have and that you're here to express and bring to the world. And you can't forget that when you build yourself up and take care of yourself, it affects everything around you. It makes
Yes.
everybody around you better. And just because you have that devotion, which is a very unique devotion to make, I feel in this time, because women hundreds of years ago used to do it, but it was a like mandated cultural thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think it was something that was like astrological.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you have a lot of Pisces in your chart. Oh, you're meant to pray. You're meant to close
Yes.
your eyes and see and
Yes.
pray. And so you're going to go live in the temple for the rest of your life. You're initiated from a little girl to do
Yes.
that. We're
I
in a
would
free
have been
country.
in the temple. I would
You
have been in the temple.
They would have put you in the temple for life.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had no other
I,
options. You
I
just
would
would
not.
have
That's it. I would have been I would have been in the training to be a nun or a saint or whatever.
exactly,
That's right. Absolutely. And I have that
exactly.
kind of. That's my energy. Hmm.
And the thing is, like, there was no choice back then. You couldn't have made a choice to do anything else, but it also was a high degree alignment for who you are as a human.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's just like arranged marriages type of thing. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
everybody needs choice, but also are you even functioning at your highest?
Right. 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 It is such a profound experience to be alive now where we're living through the era shift
Mm,
and where things are about to change in rapid ways, and it's important for us to know how we function.
yes.
You must know what your gifts, your talents, your capabilities, and here's the thing, you must desire to know, because we're all getting to know. Let's say
Right.
it that way. This is not a right now instantaneous thing. This is a process, but your desire, your curiosity has to be to understand the reason that you're here, the purpose, and what you're up to. And the easiest way that I know to do that is through initiation in your
Yep.
astrology.
Yep. 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 And it's so funny. I was thinking the other day,
Mhm.
for one, I'm my favorite friend. I am my favorite friend. I
Yes.
really mean it. Like I
Mhm.
do get sisterly,
Mhm.
or I was experiencing a sisterly lonely thing. Now I don't have that because 13 moons is rich, y'all. We ain't even talked about that today, but
Yes.
13 moons is very rich with sisterhood.
Mhm.
But I'm really my favorite friend. And I was having this internal joke with myself to kind of bounce back off of polyamory. I'm like, I'm about 4 or 5 women anyway. So, I mean, you want to be poly? I got all. Which one you want today? Like,
The thing is, it's so true. It's so true. I used to always be like, okay, give me this one today. Like, I would remember I used to call you and be like, give me the lever.
exactly. And because Monique and I are initiated in archetypes, the major archetypes governing this universe, and so we can be different women.
Yeah.
Like, which one you
Right.
want? Because I say that because that's the richness of the relationship I have with myself. Is I'm experiencing me in all these different ways and having these internal conversations and questioning, like, it's so easy to be myself now because
Mhm.
I'm not running from me. I
Yeah.
feel like in our 20s a lot of us run from ourselves because we have endured so much pain and
Yes.
we don't know what to do with it. We
Mhm.
just, the culture teaches us to be victims. They never give us a toolkit of understanding how we created anything,
Mhm.
how we
Mhm.
can collapse or dissolve problems,
Right.
so now that there's nothing to run from within me.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? So now I'm running to me. I'm like inside myself, like, oh, so this happened today. Like I attracted somebody coming in my world the other day at the
Mhm.
salon that I'm in, and I was like, okay, Gab, this is your reality. How did you create that?
Mhm.
Because it wasn't the
Mhm.
the best creation, but it
Mhm.
wasn't bad either. It was kind of more like a subtle colliding. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, why would you create that? I
Mhm.
asked myself, why would you create that,
That's
Gabrielle?
right.
What
Right.
opportunity were you creating right there
That's right.
to initiate yourself into doing something new or
Yes.
understanding? Because and that's the thing. If I got in a hand fight with somebody in the street 10 years ago, I'll be othering them so bad, like, oh, you called my mama this, I'm about to beat you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It would have
Yes.
got real ghetto.
Mhm.
But now if an experience like that happened, I was like, okay,
Mhm.
why would I create that?
Yes.
What opportunity of
Mhm.
self-mastery am I actually calling into my life by creating this?
Yes.
And then I'm more on the proactive side of creation.
Mhm.
Like I am very intentional.
Mhm.
So because I just once you done created so much BS, you'd be like, look, at some point we gotta mature and deal with things before they get here.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
Like right. Like what inside of me needs to be addressed right now so that I can
Right.
alchemize that energy. Right.
And I really look at life like a garden. I
Mhm.
truly do.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and with 13 moons, you're gonna have your what is it called, Monique? Alchemic almanac
The
al
alchemic, the
you know what
alchemy.
I'm talking about,
Yeah.
that calendar that aligns us with nature.
That's
So
right.
we know there are certain
Oh,
times
the
of the month.
almanac. The almanac.
Almanac, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
There are certain times to put that seed in
That's
the
right.
ground depending on what seed it
That's
is.
right.
There are certain exposures of sun that it
That's
should
right.
have, or times that you need to shade it.
That's
Like
right.
that's the level of creations now in 13 moons that we are at. Is we're
Mhm.
working with the moon. We know where the sun is.
Mhm.
We know where the like we know where all the astrology is.
That's
So
right.
now we're taking calculated strategic steps to
That's
cultivating the life we want
that's right.
instead of dealing with BS
Yeah.
after it happened. We're not
That's
doing
right.
that.
That's right. That is absolutely right. You could not have said that better. We are sculpting our own realities based upon the location of the moon and the sun, and we know what what actions to take based
Right.
upon where the moon is. Like right now, we're in the new moon, so we know that this is the beginning. You know what I'm
This is the
saying? And
beginning. This is the dark
that's
soil.
right.
This is
It's
the
rich.
dark soil. It's
Right.
rich. And this is also because it's so
Yeah.
dark, there may be fears that come
That's
up
right.
that you could not have sensed in full light because you can see.
Yeah.
But see, when you're in that dark moon, there are certain things you have to feel
Yeah.
for. You got to get quiet. You know what I mean? So these are all the things, and this class is ongoing right now.
Yeah.
You can go in my link in bio. You can send Monique a DM. She'll send you the link to sign
Yeah.
up. And we're in the third phase
Yes.
of our 8 phases
That's
that
right.
happen every month.
That's
So if you
right.
get in now, we'll get you up to speed. But you know, so we've been talking about this eclipse for 2 months, y'all.
That's right. That's
Monique and
right.
I are not going into this blind. We've been preparing.
That's right.
We have been preparing.
Yes.
And that's what we do is help other people prepare,
That's right. That's
help
right.
other ladies prepare. So,
So
um, yeah,
anyway, where can they find you? Where can they find you, Pachama? Let
yeah.
them know.
So I'm still working on my branding, but Gabrielle Zelina is my Instagram page. I do have another Instagram page that I feel like I want to start putting more on called Queen of Habits. That's kind of my brand for hypnotherapy and the initiation work that I offer people. Also, my husband and I have Noble Paradigm, which is a more co-ed type of initiation. And, you know, I'm at 13 moons.
Yes.
I'm also at 13 moons. So
Yes.
we're out here doing this work. We are
Yes.
available to support women, particularly
Yes.
with cultivating themselves. You know, finally, I will say that I'm a hypnotherapist. That's the main modality I work
Mhm.
with in helping you reparent yourself, helping you address stubborn habits. Those
Mhm.
stubborn habits need to be re-raised. And we
Yes.
do that through hypnotherapy. And so yeah, you can find me here at Gabrielle Zelina. I just started having a TikTok adventure also at Gabrielle Zelina.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah,
Awesome.
where can we
Thank you for
find you,
that.
Monique?
You can. My website is healwithmoonmama.com. You can find me there. You can find me here. This is my Instagram page. On TikTok, I am Moon Mama 639. You can find me there, and Facebook everywhere else, Monique Ruffin, and in 13 Moons.
Mm-hmm.
And so, thank you so much, Pachama, for this exchange. Like, I love our conversations. What we offer is incredible, and I'm just so blessed to be able to do it with you. So thank you for being my sister in this. Thank
Oh, Ashe, I appreciate this
you.
journey.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it's kind of safe to say that we met around the last eclipse. Like we really started
Yes.
locking arms around the last eclipse, and here we are
Yeah.
on the other side of that, building
Isn't it something?
just yeah, building something dynamic for
Hmm.
women all across the globe. So I am grateful
Thank
that
you.
we have shared all the things we've shared, and the journey
Yes,
continues.
it does.
So join us.
That's right. All right, you all. Peace and blessings.
Happy eclipse.
Yay. Bye
Talk to you
bye.
soon. Bye.